look like a mess.
If no one objects, I'm going to screen share the agenda again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
No. I'm glad there's nothing in there.
Make sure.
I mean, nothing in there. You just brought up all that. I could have client information in there, woman.
Okay. Actually, you can't because I have a totally separate Google. All your Google stuff's here.
Yeah.
All my stuff's here.
Oh, that's good.
Smarter than the average bear.
Bears aren't that smart.
Peter, you recording this, by the way?
Yep.
For posterity and.
I record everything.
Can we post it?
Oh, that might be a little too much information.
All right.
Can we what?
Post it on.
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
That's why.
I try to.
Yeah, I edit out any like blank space and stuff like that and then throw it up on the YouTube account. So anybody who can't make it today can get on there.
Awesome. All right.
Well,
guys, it's 2:30, but I'm gonna give them a couple more minutes. Jeez.
Yeah, we still got people popping in.
All right. Good afternoon. It's February 28th, 2021. Time is 2:34. We're going to call the Oldfield Village HOA meeting to order. Start with the roll call.
Roll call, like I said, if I miss anybody, tell me. President Earl Shandelmeyer's here. Treasurer Renee Lindquist is here. Vice President Pete Cananzaro is here. We have committee members, April Helsel, Rachel Barton, Chris and Natasha Perry, and Sheila K. Lawrence. Did I miss anybody?
This is Robert Popek. We're new residents in Lucille Court, 47 Lucille Court.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right.
I'm glad to join this, but I don't know that my video is working, so we'll play it by ear. See what I can do.
That's fine.
No pun intended.
All right. So there's an agenda that you guys can hopefully all see on the screen that we'll be going through. But for sake of time and our social committee person might have to jump off, Rachel. So I'm going to let her go ahead and talk about the Easter egg hunt and some plans for this summer. Go ahead, Rachel.
Hi, guys. Can you just stop sharing your screen? Hold on. I think if I do it, it'll stop sharing. All right. So I'm going to start off with this year's, for that first half, the first 7 months, 6-7 months. Starting March 20th, every third weekend until June, we're going to have a community yard sale. So I believe this is already on the website. So March 20th, and then for April, I'll go over the Easter egg hunt. It's going to be a social distance one. It's going to start around 9 a.m. And then the second community yard sale will be April 17th. The next community yard sale, May 15th. And then June will be our last community yard sale. We're going to have a bicycle parade, begins at the gazebo at 9 a.m. for July 4th. Anytime that there is a event, I will create a flyer and post it on a Facebook page. At the end of the month, July 31st, 2021, the second half of this year's HOA dues will be due. When I post this, if you click this link, it'll take you to our website, and you stay connected with us through the Oldfield Village HOA on Facebook. So this is our flyer for our Easter egg hunt. I know there's a lot of COVID restrictions, and I was hoping that when I thought about this idea in December that things would be better, but we gotta, be flexible. So what we're going to do this year for Easter egg hunting is when you click this link down here, and again, all of this will be posted on the website and the Facebook page. When you click this link, it'll open up to different templates for an Easter egg that you and your family can decorate. And we're going to ask you guys to post it on the back side of your mailboxes. So when your family decides to go on a walk, they can check off all the different Easter eggs that they see and that they like. And I'm going to have 5 special locations around the neighborhood that will have hidden Easter eggs. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the trend that's going on for years now, where you find a painted rock and you can choose to keep it or rehide it. The HOA, we're going to paint those colorful rocks, hide them in those special locations. So when you're on your walk, look out for those that and you and your family can rehide them somewhere else in the community or keep them at home. This is what the checklist looks like. So find a polka dotted egg, a pink striped egg, your favorite egg. And at any time that you are having fun with your family, walking around the community, do this Easter egg hunt or doing any of our activities, make sure you send it. You can post it on our Facebook page, Oldfield Village HOA, or you can send it to our Gmail, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, it's HOA Oldfield Village at Gmail. Yep. Gmail.com, and you can send that to us, and we will post it for everyone to see. There will be a newsletter that after this meeting I will create, and again, we're going to post that on the Facebook page.
Thank you, Rachel. And for those of you, we are aware that not everybody's on the Facebook, and we're aware that, not everybody even might be aware. We have a lot of new homeowners of our website. So as we have in the past, we will be mailing hard copies of the newsletter, the flyers, those type of things. It's still pretty much standard HOA invoices in July. Everything, we're still going to mail a copy as well. But like I said, we try to get it up on the website and on the Facebook group as well. So if you have neighbors that are new, or maybe that are a little older and maybe aren't as tech savvy, or younger, Lord knows I'm not always tech savvy, please share the information if you know somebody hasn't gotten it yet.
And Rachel, that was phenomenal. That's great. And if you need help, let us know, and we'll get some help.
Yeah, if you guys have anybody that wants to help paint some rocks and do some fun activity, you can just shoot a message to the Gmail and they'll tell me. I know I have one group of volunteers, and, any age range. It's just a fun activity. We can do social distancing, painting rocks on the sidewalk for the Easter egg.
I'm sure we can get some of the older kids. I mean,
Mhm.
my son, I know will do it. So.
Oops. All right. So the next was, all right. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to let Renee talk about last month's financials, and then we can get into financial report.
Okay. Well, I'll go where I have February pulled up actually, but so just so that everybody's aware, the biggest expense we have, I don't have anything to share, sorry. The biggest expense that obviously the HOA has is landscaping. We still owe past water at least one more month, correct, Linda? Which was $1,300 a month. I know it doesn't seem like they did much, but that was the contract. We took on B's landscaping in the neighborhood. We have paid his first installment of $1,500 a month for March. And then we have the outstanding withdrawals that you see on the agenda there. The $6,100 was his deposit. That check just hasn't cleared the account yet, so I don't have it within QuickBooks yet. But so our checking account balance is actually closer to about 21,000 versus the 27. And then our reserve fund is sitting at $51,000. I still do need to do the 10% transfer for any dues payments that we received after February 14th, which I will do mid-month in March just to keep it as a monthly thing. And our current balance out in arrears is $14,000. And we've got 80% of the homeowners compliant on paying the dues at this point. Is there anything else you want me to add, Linda?
Do you happen to have, February or even January's financials so that everybody can kind of see where the money's been going, like what our bills kind of look like?
So let me share my screen. I have February up just so that you can see, so I can show. Let me see if I can share the correct screen. Share. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is basically transaction for all expenses since February 1st through today. And as you can see, our biggest expense is landscaping. And then we've got B's that the check cleared within this month for March. And the second biggest one here is the water bill. Even though we've had no water being used, our bills are still $170 for 2 months. It's actually about $60. We had to pay these two together. $60 a meter. So it's still expensive even though we're not using any water. That's where we haven't gotten the second page of the bills yet from John Dixon. And then we have our electric on the irrigation system is nothing, $15 for each meter. And bank fees, and then our QuickBooks software ability to pull up this report. Anything else there, Linda, that I'm missing?
I think you're good. I'll hit a couple more things, but I think that's everything.
Okay.
Renee, could you just remind everybody what that 10% is?
So it's 10% of, so if you paid $150 in January, I have to put $15 of that $150 into a reserve account by the bylaws within our HOA. If you paid $300 in January, I put $30 in. So it's based off of all invoices we receive from you guys for all dues paid. And then when we do stuff, and I know this is an agenda map, so I'm kind of jumping ahead on the agenda, but then the reserve fund can be used for things like putting in wells so we don't have huge water bills in the summer. Then we can pull out of that $50,000, but we can't touch that $50,000 unless it's a major improvement or to fix a, something that massively went wrong.
Thanks, Renee.
Yep.
Yeah, for those not familiar with HOAs or with the reserve funds, the purpose of the reserves fund is it's an emergency fund. Like Renee was kind of saying, anything major goes wrong, or like I said, we take on something big like putting in wells, and we would have to kind of pull up the old water bills. But I think at one point our water bill was like $300 and some dollars. I mean, it was ridiculous during the summer. That's just not sustainable in the long run. And even though the upfront cost, and like I said, it's on the agenda to talk about well drilling, it'll pay for itself in the course of the next couple of years. All right, Renee, can you jump off the screen share for a second?
Sure.
Okay. So very quickly talking about dues. Renee touched on this briefly, but as of right now, we have 37 or about 28% of homeowners who have not paid their January installment. Of those 37, 9 homeowners have reached out regarding getting a check to us. I know the holidays, COVID, stuff happens. We get it. So 9 have reached out and are either have made payment plans and payment arrangements, or we should be hopefully getting a check in the next week, but that brings us to about 80% compliance with dues so far. So if you haven't gotten a chance, please let us know. Like I said, we are fine with payment plans. We get it. Things have been tough. Things have been shut down. We know taxes are coming. So we get that if you need to put it off, or like I said, we just kind of request that you guys communicate, or, that you just kind of let us know what's going on. So we can stay on top of things. And then if there is a payment plan, that would allow the deferment of any late fees or interest fees, any penalties, as long as that payment continued to be made on a regular basis. As far as our debt collection, we don't like doing this, and it is additional fees. There was none for last month, but we actually have an email that I have a bill from the attorney at this point. So that's a lot of $14,000 in arrears is a lot of money, and we are doing something about it. At this point, we have filed 2 liens. Both have been resolved. One situation, we had to pay attorney fees. In the other situation, the homeowner ended up paying attorney fees. Just to give you guys a ballpark idea, the attorney fees to file a lien is roughly $750. So we are trying to do it in a way, and these are the people that have significant amounts due. And we are trying to make sure that these are extreme situations. And again, that we do it in a way that the HOA is not responsible for fees. We have 9 accounts that are significant. And by significant, we're talking 750 or more that they owe. They are being submitted to the attorney for debt collection. We are keeping costs to a minimum in that the HOA has sent out delinquency letters. We have sent them out certified mail as required. So at this point, any attorney fees would be requested at the time of a judgment, and it would be the homeowner's responsibility to pay those attorney fees. So like I said, we are trying to, collect those dues in arrear. We're not just kind of letting this slide. We don't like it. Like I said, this is no fun for anybody, but it's also not fair that 80% of the homeowners shoulder the responsibility and the financial debt for the HOA. for 100% of the people. If anybody's not received the budget, it got mailed out with the invoices in December. As far as cost, please let me know or send an email to the HOA and we can send you another copy of the budget. And actually we may be able to put it on the website as well, what the budget looks like. All right, Architectural Review Committee, Chris or Pete, or both?
Everything that everybody sent in so far has been taken care of. I don't have any outstanding or pending ARC requests that need to be dealt with. So we're all up to date on that. Just make sure, you are sending requests in if you do want to make changes or add things such as a fence or a deck or a shed.
Yeah, and and the only other thing that we request is that we try to do a turnaround of 2 to 3 weeks with your architectural request, but sometimes life gets busy. It can, by the bylaws, to be 90 days, but just kind of give us a heads up. It's more, we have been able to help work out a few people. Just, it's been very short notice, and we do our best to get it approved. But if things are done that aren't approved, that may result in fines, because it is a violation to not have approval. You can see there's a declaration of covenant and bylaws revision committee. We're still trying to get people and get this kind of rolling. Our guidelines when it comes to architectural reviews and the architectural committee, our guidelines for fences, decks, all sheds, all those type of things are very broad. It essentially boils down to aesthetically pleasing. So it essentially boils down to consistency with what's already existing in the neighborhood of the community. Like I said, we just ask you give us a couple weeks to get a chance to look at everything, make sure all the paperwork's there, and get it back to you guys.
One of the things too is if you send an ARC request, make sure you check your email in case we need more information from you. Sometimes that holds up the process. We're waiting for more information back from the homeowner to clarify things.
Violations committee, the only general thing I would say is I've gotten another email regarding not picking up after dogs. I'm not sure how else we can kind of handle that other than shoot us a picture or a specific incident and information. But, other than that, there really hasn't been anything specific sent to us regarding violations.
Can I chime in here for a second?
Yeah.
So I figure this will be a good time to bring up 2 things that have been going on in the village that you can't do. One, can't be riding 4-wheelers and all that kind of stuff around the village. It's literally right in the covenant. Says you can't do it. Kind of sick and tired of seeing people riding 4-wheeler around the village. Not that I don't like people riding 4-wheelers around the village, but they're A, not doing it in a safe manner, and B, it's against the rules. And like my kids brought up, why can't I have a go-kart, but he can ride a 4-wheeler around the village? Well, I'm not gonna let you break the rules. And the second thing is, if you see anybody cutting across between the 2 cul-de-sacs through the common area, let us know. We have a kind of grainy video of somebody doing it. There's been multiple times we've seen tire tracks across there. They're gonna hit that water pipe for the sprinklers and cause lots of damage. So let us know if you see anybody driving through there.
Yeah, not to mention that it may potentially damage sprinkler heads or the irrigation system, and then that's going to be a cost incurred by the HOA if we don't know who's kind of been doing it.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you, Pete. Nominations committee, like I said, that'll be something. Sheila, it'll be in the fall. I'm not sure. We have to look at what board positions might become available. When it comes to committees, volunteer anytime. We're more than willing to take on volunteers for any committee at any point to help us out. And things can get done faster if there's more of us.
Yeah, if you have a specialty or you have an area of expertise, we'd be more than happy. And please reach out.
All right, we went through financials, dues. Landscaping, as Renee mentioned, B Green is our new landscaper as of April 1st.
I'd like to congratulate Chris Clow, our neighbor. Gave us a really good bid. Is priced right there with the best guys out there. He's great reputation, and he's 3 doors down from me. So that we have any problems in our neighborhood, we now have a neighbor here that's in the neighborhood that we can get a hold of quickly, that has immediate response. So I really look forward to working with Chris. And he's been a really stand-up guy, and he's done a lot of work around here for free, actually, just trying to show us what he can do. So he's been, just, again, I can't say enough positive things about him. I think he's going to do a phenomenal job for us. And this will be the first time that we really had a landscaper here that had a comprehensive bid on these jobs, because our development has been growing, of course, and we've never had a comprehensive bid to cover all of the new trees and all the things that had to be done. So, if you see Chris, or if you know Chris, congratulate him. But again, we had a lot of trouble with pass water. They weren't as responsive. They weren't at all responsive, actually. It was very difficult to know what they did, when they did it. Chris has agreed to work with us. He's going to give us a weekly summation of the work that he completes, so that we know what's been done through the summer months when it's drier. He's going to take care of everything for us when it comes to the irrigation. He's not an irrigation expert. He's going to learn it, and we're going to work with him there. He's going to also coordinate the pond maintenance, so that he's going to be the HOA contact for any pond maintenance through the county. He's going to work with the snow and removal company. So he's going to be our point guy for everything landscaping and maintenance in the development. I think that'll really help everybody out to have one person that we can rely on. So again, I'd like to congratulate Chris Clow on that.
And in case anyone's curious, this was not a one bid, one person, we favored anybody. We did a closed bid process. We accepted bids from 3 companies, I believe, and of course, pass water. So it was a blind bid, and we voted as an HOA. Pete, you got something? Were you going to add something?
Nope, talking to the wifey.
Okay.
And in case anybody was wondering, I know there was a lot of concern about the entrance, the aesthetics of everything. And when me and Earl sat down with Chris, we did talk to him with that. So there is a plan on revamping the look of the entrance and the aesthetics there, and making it a lot cleaner and nicer. So be patient. It is coming. It's going to look better.
A lot better.
Pass water, snow removal, and salting. We had, for those that do not know, our contract with pass water, which actually goes through November. We're kind of, yeah, for the snow removal. Was kind of hoping that was done when landscaping was, but apparently it's not. It has to be, according to their contract, 3 inches or 4 inches to for them to plow. It has to do with reimbursement from Kent County. So snow removal ultimately really should not cost the HOA anything, because if we follow that guideline, then we can get reimbursed by Kent County. 75%, or the cost should be minimal. As far as salting, it does include salt services. I know this last incident, we did not have the roads salted. I contacted Pass Waters regarding that, and I think it was a combination of, it wasn't expected in the sense of this area, you never know what you're going to get. They can call for 6 inches of snow and you get an inch of rain. So I think the ice hit fast. And once the ice is here, I actually looked this up because I don't know a lot about salt in the roads and ice, but I guess it actually doesn't melt ice. It just lowers the freezing point. So once the ice was here, there wasn't a whole lot that they could do. But they said that they were monitoring, keeping an eye on it. Unfortunately, I know that some homeowners did not necessarily like that response, but like I said, that's pretty much what we got from Pass Waters at this point. It did melt, thank God, pretty quick. But we'll just have to deal with it as it moves forward, and hopefully by fall, or I should say by November, we won't have any more issues. And at that point, B Green and Chris will be taking over contracting out the snow removal and salt as needed.
Yeah, and this is really a difficult situation with ice here in Delaware, because I come from central Pennsylvania in the mountains, where once you get snow and ice, it stays for several months. Here, typically you get a day or two before everything melts off. Our price for salting beforehand would be $375, and to come and do it afterward is another $375. So we're looking at a $750 cost to have them take care of that for a day or two of not having some snow or ice on the road. So it's really a very difficult, you want to do it, but at the same time you're trying to minimize our cost. And then the other point that I think we need to be careful of is salt is damaging the concrete, and we all have concrete driveways. So the more salt we put down on our roads, the better chance that we are going to start seeing pitting and destruction to our concrete driveways. So then there are options that aren't salt, but they're more expensive options. So it's a balancing act. Unfortunately, in here, you just don't know what you're going to get. You really don't. If you've lived here forever, you know that if you're moving in, it's hit or miss. So from that perspective, we want to do the right thing. We would love to keep the roads clear, but it's really trying to gauge everything from hour to hour.
And of course, the other thing that we ask, and again, for those that are new to homeowners associations and to this type of a community, sidewalks are homeowner responsibility. So in front of your house, that just like that grass strip that's between the sidewalk and the road, that's responsibility of the homeowner to mow between your property lines and around the mailbox. Same with snow. So that portion of the sidewalk would also be the homeowner's responsibility. Obviously, I know Pete stepped up and a couple other homeowners stepped up. If you know somebody who's older, somebody can't do it, we're more than willing, like I said, myself, my husband, we're more than willing to come help anybody that needs help with their sidewalks or driveways. But please make sure that they're being cleared. And if anybody's willing, like I said, hopefully it won't be an issue, but we have gotten snow as late as April. The common areas and the walkways, if anybody has the ability to help us clear those when necessary, that would be awesome too. Lighting and signage. I'm not sure if anybody noticed when you turn into the HOA development, but thank you, Pete, for our new 25-mile-an-hour sign. You can actually now see it and read it. So we know that there are other issues with fading street signs, names of streets, as well as stop signs. That issue has been brought to our developer, and actually Teal Construction is the part, I think the piece of that that's responsible. They were supposed to replace them. I don't know if it's been done, but if you are aware of any stop signs or street signs that need to be replaced, please let us know. Send an email to the HOA. The other thing, we are in the process of looking at getting some type of board that we can put out front of the HOA that we're able to put when dues are due, when the board meetings are, when the general membership meeting is. But that is something else. And of course, that may be an additional cost as well. But we think it might be good to have something out front that you guys can see when you turn in, as far as for board meetings, or like I said, anything, community meetings, anything might be going on. Lighting. Pete, I may need you or Chris or somebody to refresh my memory. We were looking at solar lights. We've been discussing different types of lighting potentially for the front entrance. Does that ring a bell?
We talked about it with B Green as part of like the revamp of the front entrance. We haven't gotten 100% done on that. He was going to be looking into some stuff and get back with us on different options and pricing on that. But that was brought up to him.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
As well as possibly like some like the fake big rocks to cover some of the sprinkler system pipes and stuff like that to kind of make it look more aesthetic too. So.
Okay. Awesome. As far as any type of developer update,
I spoke to John Dixon. He's still he was saying that the reason that he didn't finish the roads last year was that they had a problem with one of the I believe he blamed it on Comcast that they messed up one of his pipes, and so we're still on probably the beginning of the second quarter for the finishing up of the development. We're gonna have to schedule a meeting with him. He's gonna have to come out and we're gonna have to go through. There's multiple areas that need to be addressed before we sign off. So that's the big one. And that kind of gets right into the well drilling here. So as far as the finishing the development, we're still looking at probably May, late April. But probably no earlier than late April, early May is what I would really expect. As far as the
Before we get to well drilling,
I'm sorry.
Before we get to well drilling, one of the other things that need to be addressed, and I think a lot of homeowners have issues with, before we sign off on this village and take complete ownership from John Dixon, a lot of these drainage issues are another thing that we're talking with him about. And we're not going to take ownership of this village until that stuff's remedied.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's a difficult situation because it's between some homeowners, some builders, some John Dixon. So we're trying to kind of facilitate the best solution for everybody. But again, everybody has this issue. I don't think there's anyone in this entire place that doesn't have flooding in their yards. It's kind of the way they were designed. All that homes sit on their own little mound, and in between the homes are flooded areas. Backyards are flooded areas. Off the common area ground is flooded areas. So it's difficult. But we are trying to stay on it and trying to do the best for everybody. And if we can get John to do some of the work, that would be great.
Yeah, we're just also asking that anybody that maybe has dealt with, I know for the most part, developers have left, La Crosse is gone, Timberlake's gone, the model homes are sold, that they've pretty much washed their hands of helping of that kind of stuff. But if anybody else has any success, I know some people, I think Public Works maybe help them, or County Conservation help them, but just kind of let us know if you're making progress somewhere so we can share it and kind of work with it. I know one homeowner was contacted, and Teal Construction was supposed to be working on a project to come back in March with some of the grading and flooding issues. And that's an extension of the developer. So like I said, if you can just kind of let us know so that we can kind of coordinate, or like I said, make sure that we're getting that dealt with as effectively as possible. Yeah. Unfortunately, the other thing is fences. We have at least one, I think, potentially 2 or 3 pools. All that affects grading. And that's the other reason it's extremely important, and why, like I said, we're not trying to be a pain about ARC requests, and we don't want to fine people, but those things affect grading. So if it's not approved ahead of time, and we don't know, or we're not making sure that the proper grading is going to be done, that can mess up, yards as well. So, but yeah, our yard right now has got a ton of water in it.
Linda, hi, this is Bob Popek. We have a similar situation, but it was my understanding, in order to get an occupancy permit, basically the conservation group had to sign off on the grading and the drainage and everything else associated with that. Is that true?
I'm not that, again, like I said, this is all new to us. We're looking into that kind of thing. And I believe that was one of the ways the other homeowner had gotten Teal Construction involved, was going through Kent County Conservation. So I'd have to look into that, but, and I think that's why the developers are kind of washing their hands, is because the developers have basically said they did that, they took care of it. Here's the occupancy, y'all moved in.
Right.
So
well,
I think
there's kind of 2 things with that, right? So one, if, for example, I move into my house, I get my occupancy request and all that kind of stuff, but then they build my neighbor's house afterwards, then that messes things up after the whole occupancy thing has been granted. That's happened a couple of times. And then the other thing is, they're more concerned about the flooding of the actual house versus the flooding of the back corner of your property when they're given those occupancy requests. So what's happening is the parts where two properties meet, or over like on Gloria Circle there, where three properties meet, and it ends up in this little triangular shaped depression at the corner of those three properties, and you end up with a foot of water there.
Okay.
We have a lot of standing water on Lucille Court, and basically all the houses are in place now. All the construction's finished. We've got issues with the, certainly we've got all the construction debris and mud. Every time I pull into my driveway, bring part of the dirt, into my driveway. There's a street sign that's needed on the corner of Lucille and Oldfield Village. There's at that intersection, there's one sign right now, and there needs to be another sign, and a stop sign, and also there is no indication of Lucille Street. It's once you're on the cul-de-sac spur that comes off of Oldfield, nobody knows where to find us.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Okay. Should we leave this open? Should we discuss this in the open forum when you're?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
And the other thing, real quick, is the flooding or the water? Is it in the streets? Because I know there have been issues with the storm drains, that the silt covers, and that they have to come through and remove like the silt covers that catch the debris and stuff. And do you know if they've been taken out of the drains along that street yet? Because that might be something we have to look at too.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a question to who, Linda?
I'm sorry, to you. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
You're still muted. Are you muted again?
I'm sorry. There's standing water the way the end of the cul-de-sac is sloped.
Okay, in the street itself, though.
It's in the street.
Okay. All right.
And one thing that I do notice, it seems like the way the roads are sloped, they're sloped away from drainage, storm drains in a lot of cases. So I'm not sure what the developer can do for this.
Well, they're going to have to come and finish all the road surfaces. So their grading has to be perfect on that final finish. When they finish the roads, they're going to bring them up so that we won't be banging into the metal covers, and all of that should be taken care of. It should look like the regular road surface by May. And we definitely should not be having standing water. They should probably be mounded so that it runs off to the edges and down into the drains.
Yeah, it needs to be directed, certainly. Yeah.
Bob, if you're good, if you're available later, I can swing by and take a look at the flooding and stuff. If you want, I can do that later on. Okay, yeah, let's take a look at that. And then also there's the pond area. There's so much standing water. Oftentimes in the morning we get up and our porch columns are just coated with insects, little critters.
So actually, I appreciate that you brought that up, because something just popped in my head. So I don't know. We notice our yard, and I know with the water, the mosquitoes and insects are a massive issue. Obviously, I can't do anything about individual homes, but I do want to say that we are looking at, as far as the HOA and another potentially for the budget, is to spray common areas for mosquitoes, because I know when we went through our yard in the fall, you walked and it was like just massive. I've never seen so many in my life.
Now, granted, this has been one of the wettest years in history.
Agreed.
So,
yeah.
Hopefully that we don't have that kind of standing water every year. But yeah, if we have to do something, and the state didn't do anything last year, as far as I know, on mosquito control.
Right.
So if we need to, we're going to have to try to look into that in budget for some sort of just the blanket mosquito and insect control. Yeah. Because it was crazy last year. And is it still going on for you, or is it in the winter? Usually they die down.
Yeah, I mean, basically we're not seeing the mosquitoes. We're seeing like tiny gnats. And I'm sure it's probably the aquatic insect life that's living in those wet areas. So.
Okay.
So we'll finish off the well drawing.
Yeah. No, I got it. Hold that thought.
Okay.
All right. Anybody that December we had our holiday decorating contest. And I believe the winners were posted by Rachel on Facebook, but I think she has since jumped off. We just want to thank everybody that participated with the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we were only allowed to have 3 winners, but the houses look beautiful. And thank you everybody that did that. And
Yeah,
congratulations to
yeah.
all of our winners.
Yeah, that was very nice. Yeah.
All right. Anything else on the well drilling?
Yeah, just the well drilling, as we talked about a little bit, and I think we talked about it in the last meeting also. We found out after running about 4 weeks of on and off irrigation in August that our developer didn't put us on wells for our football field common area, size common area, or the area out front. So in 1 month, and I think Renee probably, I think it was $750 or $800 for 1 month of semi usage. We didn't even use them every day, which is outrageous. It would be to run our sprinklers for 5 or 6 months would be upward of $10,000. So the thought was we'll go ahead and sink 2 wells, one for each of the areas. I spoke to John's well drilling, and we need a couple of things. We need to get a couple of things to them. Most importantly, they need to know our gallons per minute. What's the pull rate? And she said, the woman I spoke to said it's most likely 10 gallons a minute, which would be what you would see in a common, any kind of irrigation system for a home. And if that's the case, we're looking at $3,000 each for the wells. So the return on our investment will be less than a year, less than a single season will have paid for this. And oh, by the way, we believe we can't verify it yet, but we're paying $60 or $62 a month for each of those hookups just to be hooked up to Artesian. So we're looking at another $1,500 a year in water cost for water that we're not even using. So it was just a horrible decision. I mean, I know why he did it. He saved himself $6,000 in well drilling. But our developer really, screwed us, frankly, in what he did here. But we're gonna fix that and take care of it. So we will. Our cost of running our irrigation will be, $1,000 or $1,200 a year. I would expect not too much more than that. Maybe a little bit more with electricity, but not much more than that. So we'll definitely be using it a lot more this year than we did last. Hopefully we'll have those wells put in again early May. We don't really need to push it until probably mid-July before we need to put them on. In August and early September will be the month and a half or so where they're really necessary. Okay.
Any other HOA board members, committee members, any other thoughts or anything else we need to report before we open it up to questions and concerns?
No, I'm good.
All right. Anybody, so at this point, any concerns anybody wants to address? I don't know the easiest way to do this. If it's chat or raise your hand. I don't know, but any thoughts, anything anybody wants to share?
Just jump in if you.
Hey, this is Mark Warman. Live on Jeanette Court. Just moved in at the end of December.
Welcome.
Thank you. Just had a couple of questions, really. We're new. Been in Delaware for a couple of years, but this is first HOA. As far as the payment being received, as far as I know, we paid half when we close on the house. But do we get like something in the mail that tells us, hey, your fees are coming due and who to send the check to and all that kind of stuff?
I can take it, Linda. So we got your closed check and did all of that stuff. So as long as whatever was paid at the time of closing, you were covered. If you haven't gotten anything, that means you probably paid. What I'm going to try to do, so just backstory since you just moved in, we just kind of set up QuickBooks in mid-summer last year. So we've gotten through to where a lot of people paid in July, last July. We didn't even have QuickBooks set up. So we didn't have official invoices. But if you, in July, when we send out everything, we're going to send something to every homeowner, because there's some homeowners that have already paid like the full year for 2021. And we'll still send them the invoice that I created for their July half. So if you'll get something in the mail, don't worry. And if we haven't reached out to you specifically yet, I can just do a double check if you want me to. But if you ever have a question, if you owe anything, if you send an email to the HOA email, we can take a check and look and just make sure you're good if you need that clarification.
Okay, thank you. Had just a couple other quick questions. If I'm interested in getting like solar panels or having a well drilled on my property, is that something I also need to basically do a ARC request through?
Yeah, those are both things that you would need to do an ARC request for. Those would be two separate different ARC requests, and they'll go to basically essentially Chris and I. So.
Okay, thank you. And last question I got is, we have a pond, because I heard people talking about a pond, but I haven't seen any ponds. So
the retention pond, it's down on the south side of the village behind all the houses. It's just a stormwater retention pond. It's not like a hangout and fish pond.
Copy. Okay, thanks. That's all I had. Appreciate it. Glad to meet everybody virtually.
Do you know about the Facebook group and the website?
Honestly, my wife, she just seen a flyer on I guess one of the stop signs or something, and she told me about this Zoom meeting. So now I've got it written down, and I'll request to be added to that. Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah, the website is right here in the chat. I put up the website link, and then from there you can just click on the little Facebook icon on the top right.
Sounds good. Thanks.
You're awesome, Pete.
Don't you forget it.
All right.
So yeah, I have a question. At the end of Lucille Court, if you go beyond the end of the cul-de-sac, maybe 20 feet, 15, 20 feet, there's a huge tree stump that's standing right up there looking at you. And that probably should be removed. I'm not sure if that's really on the property or beyond the property lines. It's not on my property, but it's kind of in between properties at the end of the cul-de-sac.
We'll have to look. I know I've been trying to track down the plat. I've been trying to go through Kent County to get a copy of our plat, so I know where easements, right of ways, and property lines end.
Right.
But once I figure that out, that may be something I can check with John Dixon. We can shoot him an email and find out about that. Because I know the farm behind that farmland, like
Yes.
I think that water that's down there, that little river or stream, I think that's their property. So I'm not sure how far back it goes.
Right. Okay.
Pete, when you go over, you could take a look, see what you think. But I would say the wood line, from what I saw when I was putzing around back there multiple times, is it looks like they pushed everything to the wood line, and that farmer still owns that wood line and down into the ponds there. There are 3 ponds behind that property also.
Right.
So everything. So I imagine what it looked like, they just bulldozed it down into that area so he didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that pretty much summarizes it. They just pushed it down the hill a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of standing water there, and I'm sure that waterway is on the farmer's property, and I don't think that he would be willing to kick in a nickel to do anything to help that.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know.
Robert, yeah, I'll come over there in a few minutes and take a look at it. What was your house number again?
We're at 47. We're at the very end of Lucille Court, which doesn't have a sign yet. But
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go all the way to the end of the cul-de-sac where the last house on the left, where their house is we pushed ourselves into the tree line a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I know exactly the house. I live right around the corner, so I watched your house get built.
That's what you get for having,
He watched it very slowly get built.
that's what you get for having that great lot. That's a nice lot.
Yeah.
Watched it slowly too because my backyard I think looks right into you. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
Yeah, I
Robert,
have something. Go ahead and apologize about the trailer being out front. My wife made a post on Facebook. However, in the rule book, it says that RVs cannot be parked outside for a prolonged period. I emailed the HOA whenever I figured out that we were positive for COVID. So, I can't even get on base right now. And I believe it's a state law that we're required to quarantine as well. The HOA replied back saying that I needed to ask permission to bring my trailer in anytime. So what I'm asking is, are we supposed to ask you to permission to bring our trailer in? To load it up for a trip? Because like I said, by the rule book, it says prolonged period. And then what is the definition of a prolonged period?
So this is one of those things, and if I'm not mistaken, Logan, I think you reached out about being part of the bylaw revision committee.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, it's one of those vague things in the guidelines for prolonged, and I think it's not so much, if you're planning on taking on a trip or something like that, 24, 48 hours, even 3 days. I don't know if any other board member wants to kind of give input on what prolonged means.
So,
the
as
biggest
far as-
issue, go ahead, Pete.
No, okay, I thought you were done there. But in my opinion, I think that kind of what you guys have been doing, and if it's going to be more than a day or two, you guys have been reaching out to us, is right now the best situation. Logan, you're military, you know how it goes with reg. Sometimes, vagueness helps you and sometimes it doesn't. I think in this situation is one of those times where it doesn't really help you because you don't know whether or not it's, loading up for a trip is for a long period of time. I think if it's more than just a couple days to load up for a trip, then you should kind of give a heads up or ask permission, however you want to word it. If it's just, I'm loaded and bringing it in on Friday because we're leaving on Sunday morning, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and I'm not
That's
so
what I was
sure.
thinking.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure that the intent of the email, I was the one that wrote it, was that about permission. It was more about just a heads up ahead of time, because unfortunately there have been situations in the neighborhood, where other homeowners have complained how when my husband, excuse my language, I'm sorry. When my husband and I first moved in, he had a nuts business and a nuts route. And within a week we got fined, well, not fined, but we got a violation notification because he had the X truck here, so, I think that, and again, if the email came across that way, I apologize. It was more of kind of the idea of, hey, just give us a heads up so that if somebody else reaches out to us, we can say, hey, it's only going to be here for a couple days, or, it's only going to be here for that time frame.
I did though give a heads up as well. The first email I sent was on the 20th and there was no reply to that email.
Yeah, and that just might have been, like I said, I primarily, check the emails. Some things get lost in the shuffle sometimes, I think. And like I said, the COVID, when I responded to, Earl and I had it back in November. I really hope you and everybody is doing okay. And like I said, if you guys need anything, please let us know. But yeah, I mean, there's really nothing that can be done about that.
Right. Yeah. So when I was going off of that now, when this rule change committee, like when are we trying to stand that up? That way you can say like a week, right? 7 days is a prolonged period, or whatever the case may be. That way it is black and white.
Well,
Right now we're just waiting for more volunteers.
I was gonna say,
We've had a few people say they want to help, but not much action on actually putting anything together. We just need somebody to really follow through.
Can you put like the people that say they want to help to like in touch with each other, and then maybe we can get some stuff following through?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I know Chris has already started to draft some revisions. We passed them out the general membership meeting. I'm not sure if you were here for that, but
there's no.
Yeah, we had started to draft some stuff. The unfortunate part is that when it comes to changing our covenant or bylaws, it's a legal process. So it's not only about what do we want to change, but 80%, I think it's 80% of homeowners actually have to vote and accept the revision. And then it has to be filed with the court, because our covenant and bylaws are filed and registered with the court of Kent County. So it's, yeah, no, I agree. I think the sooner, we can start to do this, but like I said, Chris and Pete, a lot of times they're dealing with ARC review. Chris is trying to work on some bylaw revisions, but we need bodies. So if you know anybody, that's willing to help with this, hey.
So Pete, maybe you could put on Facebook,
Call for volunteers.
Yeah, call for volunteers and wait a few days. And then if we get a couple guys like Logan here and we'll just meet and start the process, because it's never going to get finished if we don't get it started officially, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put a post up on Facebook and see if who wants to start knocking this out.
Yeah, and I'm in there with you, so.
Yeah, and I think I was gonna say, Chris, you're still working on stuff, right?
I mean, I've passed, I guess what I've done has been passed out. I mean, the things I could think of and from reading through it and just thinking of like homeowners and being courteous and stuff. I mean, I kind of made all those, but I'm sure there's stuff that I've missed because I can't think of everything. So,
right, yeah,
we can work off of what it's already been working on and see what people think with that. And I'm sure people have that stuff to add to it because, like I said, I can't think of everything.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Logan, like I said, ultimately our big issue is this is it. There's what, 5, 6, 7, 7 of us, and
And we do want it to be comprehensive because it's not a cheap process. So when we do this, we want to kind of do it once every 5 years at the maximum kind of thing. So,
Linda, is the are the bylaws and regulations draft up on the website right now?
Yes. All of our documents are on the website, the covenant, the bylaws. There's been one amendment, I think, about above ground pools that's on there, as well as the meeting minutes, once they're approved, get posted. Anything as far as newsletters, everything's on our website. Yep. The architectural request form is on the website. Pretty much everything's up there.
But all the draft revisions are basically on the website as well.
No, the draft revisions are not up there at this time because that was just kind of like brainstorming. We really didn't go anywhere with it. So I
still got them. I could shoot them over to Pete if he doesn't have them.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, it'd be good to know what progress has been made. So if the homeowners see if there's anything else that needs to be done, they could shoot a memo to Peter or Linda, whoever is in charge of this.
Yeah, Rob, maybe you could get on Facebook. Maybe you could hook up with Pete on that thread.
Chris, yeah,
and Chris, and we can
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, ultimately, I get it. We all have, things that we'd like to work on and things that we'd like to see change, but we just need bodies. I can't say it enough. We need people to volunteer. We need bodies because we all work full time. We all live here. We all work.
We need, we need brains. That's what we need.
Yeah, you need that too. Yes.
Yeah. I'm a body. I mean, it's not helpful. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have one more question. With the other common areas, is there anything like in the budget or future to do anything with those areas? Like another park or, like something, you know what I mean? Versus just a field.
Renee?
Me and Earl did talk the other day about possible, like maybe a set of swing sets somewhere and some other stuff added. So there has been talk about it, and we'll probably get, input from the community to see what people would like in some of those vacant areas.
So and I'm going to give the credit to my daughters on this one. They came have this idea. So behind our house, I live on the end of Doris Court, is this vacant, weighted, gross area where there's still 4 tires that have been there since we moved in 3 years ago. We were thinking because of the space and just kind of back in the corner, and there's the easement in between the 2 houses on, I think that is Lucille Court behind me. I may have it wrong. That we put in is it Jeanette? Okay, sorry, Jeanette Court. We put in a community garden back there. and do something along those lines. So it would be something that kids could enjoy, but it's also something that, you know, people that are older in the development could also do.
As far as swing sets or any other type of play, you know, any of those type of things, certainly, yes, it's something we could look at. We could survey. I know I've used SurveyMonkey in the past. I think I have emails for most homeowners. It's, you know, not that expensive to kind of get a general opinion or thoughts on that. The only thing would be keep in mind that we do have insurance, and the more stuff we add, it could impact our community insurance.
But to be honest, we have a ton of young kids and we don't have enough play equipment for them. So
Great.
it's something that I would like to see happen. And we, especially swing sets. First of all, I like swing sets, I'm not gonna lie. So, and we could have swing sets on both sides, some more things for the kids to play with. We're gonna have to do some things about the speed and the cars that go by the different areas, because we're gonna be drawing our kids in here to play. But again, if you have ideas, you see things, even if you're out at with Byler's actually sells swing sets and stuff. So if you're someplace and you see some nice playground equipment, let us know so that we can, you know, we can check it out and then price it and see what it would be to get it in here. Because I think we have a young community, we have a lot of kids, and I think it would just be doing a great service to them to have more play equipment. More they have to play with, the less trouble they can get into. It's just that simple.
And just to note, so when we're talking about doing things like this, that's where the reserve funds would be used. It wouldn't be coming from the checking account to be paying like a monthly thing. These are the types of things that you use those reserve funds for.
This is the kind of thing you would have to have a vote, and similar to where we were talking about the well drilling, like while that certainly makes sense, this is still something you would need an 80% approval vote from the community to spend the reserve, correct?
No.
There are certain things that per the bylaws that we do have some freedom as an HOA board.
So if there are upgrades to if you're doing an upgrade to the community, which would be including play equipment or wells or an upgrade, or you're fixing, you're doing something with the pond maintenance, that would be upgrade. All of those things are under that umbrella. The overall votes are typically to change. They're not spending money. They're about changing our covenant, our bylaws. The way you would, if we were to put playground equipment in and people weren't happy, then you would vote us out. that's the way that they kind of handle that. But it's also why we talk about this stuff now, and why we wouldn't do it without bringing it to the membership and saying these are our costs, and being able to have that discussion beforehand. So it isn't something you're not going to wake up one day and see $50,000 worth of incredible monkey bars and gym equipment. It's something that, you know, we would work almost a committee style thing, and then bring it to you guys, talk about it, figure out what makes sense, and then do it.
Well, I mean, I'm not arguing with this, but I'm saying that this particular meeting is a very small percentage of the neighborhood. And if you are thinking about spending the money or putting up something that would affect somebody's property that they weren't expecting, it's something you would probably want buy-in from people. You know, I'm not talking about myself specifically, but like I said, this is a small percentage of the neighborhood who would all be affected by something like that, a change.
And that's true, but at the same time, Virginia, everybody had the option to be here today, and to chase people around is just, it gets mind numbing, trying to get everybody to agree. And of course, the more impactful the decision, the more people you want buy-in. But
Well, all the more reason for a vote.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
All right.
You know, and it may at this point, maybe, you know, the best I can say is we'll do maybe a SurveyMonkey again. Like I said, I have most homeowners' emails, if not at this point, almost everybody's, and get opinions. And then, you know, it can't hurt to confirm with the attorney, you know, as far as how our bylaws read with spending that money in the reserve fund. You know, so, I mean, because
I like the idea of a survey personally.
Yeah.
Now, the only problem with this, and I've had this in other communities, is you get a split between those with children and those without children often. So you almost split your community by, well, it's not beneficial for me, or I don't like to hear kids, compared to, oh my God, my kids have nothing to do. So just keep that in mind.
We were all children.
Yes, we were.
Some of us still are.
Yeah. And some of us were of that age when we were told go outside and play until the lights come on, don't come home.
Exactly. Can I ask a question? I jumped in late and I apologize, but can you give us an update or give me an update on Teresa Way, that where the water is just, that pothole there is horrendous.
So the update on that is the developer, John Dixon, we're still looking at either the end of the first quarter of this year. So April, March, end of March, early April, up into probably May, because he's got to come along and finish all road surfaces, and he's going to bring those up to level on the grades and taper the roads so that they drain properly and all that good stuff.
Great. Okay, so there is an expected end date. Fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and it couldn't be any sooner than that, really. Anyways, most people don't realize this, but like the blacktop plants to actually make the blacktop and all that stuff, they shut down every winter, so they don't even open back up until that time. So even if they were all ready to pave it, there's nothing to pave it with until then.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
I got one more. All the flooding like in between the houses, have we looked into putting in French drains? Because you can put in a French drain and tap into the storm system very cheap, extremely easily.
I've looked at it doing it myself for my yard, but as far as an HOA, no. I mean, he did a good job. I got to give him credit on the common areas. They all run right to my yard. Like, so
my yard, April's yard. Where's April? April's our neighbor. I'm like, good God.
Yeah, he did a great job tapering that down and getting rid of the water off common areas, which is why I was thinking about putting that little French drain in myself. But as far as an HOA, no. Now, if we could find it and we could get good deals, by teaming up with multiple homeowners and bringing this guy's, a company in, we'd be more than willing to try to facilitate something like that. If you get a good deal and he can do 4 or 5 yards, we might all be able to benefit from that kind of thing. But this drainage thing is a real bear because nobody has real ownership of it yet.
Right.
It's really hard to get anybody to take ownership of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine. Thank God.
It's a real fight. It's a
I was
fight
looking
to
at
figure out
Chris's
whose
house.
fault it is.
At Chris Cole's house, and it'd be easy to put in a French drain right there and run it straight out to the road and just have it vent out into the road. And I do own a construction business, so I may end up doing that for Chris.
Okay.
And helping him out. I do it on the side, but
Yeah, the worst one in my opinion is the one right there on the top of Gloria Circle, because it's got nowhere to go. It's 3 yards that all drain down to the point where they all meet.
right. It's super simple to put in. It's perforated pipe and some gravel. That's all it is. And then throw some dirt and grass on top of the gravel so people don't see the gravel, and then you move on.
Now, Pete, is that the area that they put the drain 6 inches above grade?
Yeah, it's part of that. Yeah. So there's a drain that's above the grade. Then they dug a ditch that goes all the way around between Gloria Circle and Oldfield. That maybe drops 3 inches over 250 yards.
It's a slow drain.
It's a mess.
So Logan, in the future, if we reach out to you once we figure out maybe who has some responsibility for irrigation issues, we can reach out to you about maybe facilitating solutions and stuff.
Yes, ma'am, you can. It's what I did for a little bit in the military as well, is plumbing. I worked on a bunch of the neighbors' houses and their plumbing issues.
Okay.
So
Awesome. We appreciate it.
And we really should, if we
Ah.
could have something where we could get all the neighbors of different,
And my computer's bad.
yeah, like a directory. Oh, what's it? Rachel can do that.
Yeah. All right. Any other last minute thoughts, concerns, questions?
I'd like to throw something out there, just to keep in mind. It was mentioned, I know, in the last HOA meeting, and it was brought up here very briefly, about the signage for children at play, or basically efforts to try and get cars to slow down. I did some reading on that recently, and it looks like a lot of areas across different states have conducted studies or funded studies to, see how effective those things are. And the bottom line is they typically don't work. And they come with, I forget the terminology, but there's something liability that can come along with installing those kinds of signs. And people tend to get overconfident that, it's safer. The things that do work, the term is traffic calming. It typically has to do with physical changes in the road, so not speed bumps necessarily. That is an option, but it's not necessarily the only option. But things like mini circles, or what do they call them? It's like almost like a physical zigzag in the road. It's real common in England. If anybody's ever been over there, they do work, because obviously you'll run into something if you don't slow down. They're a little annoying, but they do calm the traffic. So just something to consider.
Yeah, I know
what's that?
Just real quick. Yeah, I know speed bumps is something especially that's been brought up several times, and the big issue is damage to somebody's vehicle. So if we were to install speed bumps and somebody lowers their car or whatever, has a low profile car, and it caused damage to their undercarriage, the HOA is responsible for that. So, some of these other ones might be a little more, but we have to be careful that it's not something that could potentially damage a homeowner's vehicle.
But
Absolutely. What's that?
I was to say, at the same time, I'd rather see a damaged vehicle than an injured or dead kid. So that's something that really bothers me. And if Jason, if you could, if you want to meet or something, like, to go over this, like, this is probably one of the most important things that I think for the HOA is to make sure that because we have so many young kids, it's so important. If we can get some more minds together and come up with some solutions, that would be awesome. Like, it really bothers me. Mine's old enough. I mean, if he gets hit, he's probably just going to get a broken arm, but there's a lot of little kids going around and they don't see the cars, and it's just dangerous. So, I mean, if you could reach out to the HOA, email, maybe we can, send me some of that reading material, or if we can get a group together to go over this, whatever it takes. Like, I'm willing to put the time in there.
And we're sorry for cutting you off. I wasn't sure if there's anything else you wanted to add.
I'm just very passionate about this.
And no worries. I did one other thing. I think in the last meeting it was mentioned something about trying to find a solution for lighting in the gazebo. And I've got an electronics background, but I'm not an electrician. It seems like it'd be something real easy to do. I've been looking a lot into it for myself for other projects, but not I haven't executed anything yet. So it looks like for a few $100 to $1,000 you can come up with a pretty nice solution to put lighting on the gazebo, and that ranges from a single light, just to give you something so it's not dark, and to maybe a couple of floodlights or something. That, I don't know, it just depends on what it is we want. But I'd love to help out with that. But again, I'm not an electrician, so there's a lot of the wiring and the stuff that I just don't have the experience with.
Yeah, so right now we're trying to figure out, like, what's the best option and what do we really want, right? So it goes from anywhere from just a simple battery operated floodlight, like a self-contained thing, like a ring floodlight, right, all the way up to, like, do we want actual electricity at the gazebo so that when this whole COVID thing's over, we can have block parties or whatever we want and be able to plug in, music or whatever out there. So we're still trying to figure out, as an HOA, what's the best thing that gives us everything that we want.
Okay, well, so with that said, I've worked a project in the past before where we got solar lights for one of my squadron's parking lots. We coordinated with this company, and they had a product. There's multiple companies that make similar products, but they essentially put a light pole on a concrete block, and it has a solar panel on it, battery on board, and it's a set and forget solution. So you just forget about it for 5 to 7 years till you got to change out the battery. So going back to that lighting at the front entrance, that might be something to consider. But with a project like that, you typically companies, I think you can throw in the gazebo on top of that, and see what kind of solutions they can offer for all your lighting needs.
Pete said he was going to MacGyver that. I clearly remember.
I've got LED light bulb and some 18650 batteries and a solar panel. I'll have it done tomorrow.
Well, if you want some help with that, let me know. I'm more than willing to do the project. I like to do that kind of thing, and my wife's probably yep, she's staring at me right now. She's like, when are you going to do this? Because your laundry list of things to do for me is growing every day. So
she's trying to hit that mute button right now, ain't she?
Yeah.
So it sounds like another one that when the weather breaks, we could start to get together like a little committee and come up with a solution, because it's better, I think, to, if I had, my vote is to put a little bit of money into it and get that set up so that we have it as something that we can work with. We have electricity there. We're able to do the block party or have the music or a cookout or whatever we want. We have a option there. We have multiple switches and plugs and everything, and then work with that. But again, put it out there, get some people together, brainstorm, and come up with the best solution.
So one other solution to these types of situations I've seen done in the past, especially with schools on military bases, is they'll reach out to the high school and they'll have the STEM classes or engineering class, and they'll actually have the students come up with a solution. The local entity just pays for the parts, and then the students do all the planning and labor and everything. At least what they can do.
We have the technical high school, Polytech, is 7 minutes away, so that might be an option to bring them in.
Okay, so if anybody has a contact over there, that'd be great.
I used to. I'd have to look, see if he's still there. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jason. Again, Pete was hopefully this weather gets better and we can start getting some of these projects spring and summer. Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns? Pete, you were raising your hand? No,
I was giving you a thumbs up.
Okay. All right. If that's all, then we're gonna call for an adjournment. All right.
Pete, just one question. Pete, what time do you want to get together? Do you want to do it today or after the weather calms down?
It's up to you. I kind of have to work this upcoming week. I can do it now or whenever you want. I ain't afraid of a little rain. It's up to you.
Okay, well, we could do it this afternoon then. Oh, we have a little light.
All right, I'll be home in a little bit.
Stop by. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you very much for everybody. All your comments, ideas. Appreciate it.
All right, enjoy your week, rest of your day, rainy day.
Great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.